Illini. I mean, okay. Well, hello, guys. Hello.
Yeah, I think everybody's here. Um, Rebecca, could you introduce yourself and say what you do?
Yes, of course. I'm Rebecca Saul. I go by Becca most of the time, but I became a operator in February 2021. Um, pretty. Uh, I feel, or right when I started, I was hesitant. I was scared. I was like, am I gonna be able to not get lost? First off, that was my main concern. And slowly I learned the routes over time, and now I can now driving any route anytime on a dime. Um, and yeah, I mean, my other profession is music. I'm a violist. I graduated from U of I in viola performance. So I have a BM in that. I graduated 10 years ago, 2014. So yeah, my life pretty much has been seated here in this community, and I did I rode the bus as a college student, but not as often as you would think. After the MCore project, I don't know if any of you know of the MCore project, but that was a over $2 million project that MTD did to make the campus as safe as it is now. And I'm sure you feel it, you know it. And basically, uh, we have more ridership than ever on campus because of that project. It allowed the students and the bikers and to really coexist very well together. So that those are the main things I have to say right away.
MCOR was a multimodal corridor or something, or I'm not sure what
Yeah,
the acronym stands for, but that's
me
what
either.
they described it as,
Oh, okay.
making it possible for various vehicles to
Yes.
coexist more harmoniously.
Hmm.
Anyway, my students' charge has been to identify problems and do an assessment of campus transportation. So they're focusing in on things that are difficult or whatever. Could we have some of you students just ask questions to Rebecca? And would anybody like to go first?
I can go ahead. That's okay
Okay,
with
great.
everybody else.
Yeah, great, Stefan.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Hi, Rebecca.
Uh-huh.
My group we're doing jaywalking, kind of looking into that a little bit. So I just wanted to ask, first of all, just like what your overall experience with is on campus.
So I I'll give an experience today. I drove the Yellow Hopper, which is a very busy, buzzing route, and on a campus only. And it goes through, Transit Plaza, which is again the campus terminal, is what I call Transit Plaza, the campus terminal. And when when it's class change, which obviously that's the most chaotic period for us all involved. I think as we're well, first off, Transit Plaza is a mandatory stop. That's fine and all, but so as you're approaching it, you do yield to. And anyway, the kids that want to cross before the crosswalk, I I'm just like, no, I'm sorry, like you have to use this crosswalk that is made for this purpose. So I think the vehicles who, yeah, we're not technically supposed to bully the crosswalk. That is what we were told. That's what we're trained as. We can't, like, we're really not supposed to like go so close to the pedestrians that they're like, whoa. But pedestrians end up going so close to us. And anyway, I think we are getting a more healthy balance of when the pedestrians are realizing, oh, like this crosswalk is being used and now the buses need to go. I mean, I think it's getting a happy medium, but when the crosswalks aren't utilized and someone just wants to dart out, but I mean, again, we're being very attentive. We what we call a head on the swivel, so that if a jaywalker does decide to do that. But anyway, I think the extra crosswalks added on Green Street is helpful for that. I will I will say this paragraph that my service planner wrote to me. Our buses always yield to pedestrians regardless of the legal nature. Any encounter between a bus and a pedestrian will not end well for the pedestrian. Hence, our diligent approach to avoiding such encounters. Illegal jaywalking occurs regularly in this community, and to our knowledge, is no longer or rarely enforced, which means it's up to us to keep everyone safe. This can and does affect schedule adherence. So again, when pedestrians are using the crosswalk and then we get to go, that's more efficient. Whereas again, if people are trying to like dart before and or after, it's especially dangerous to jaywalk behind a bus if a bus is coming. That makes my heart drop. I mean, and you know, and students like to, sometimes we allow them to cross in front of us, and most students are pretty good about peeking behind the bus. But in my opinion, that's also a form of jaywalking, even if that's, and if we're allowing them to go, which is rare, but it happens because we want to keep them safe. But and there was an instance where a biker did this to me and a car went, and thankfully that biker again was attentive and peeking, but it could have ended very bad. So
So
I
would you
like,
say, sorry,
no,
to
go ahead.
like sum it up, would you say like the most common thing you see is kids going like before the little walk sign shows up, or like just kind of jumping in the street when that sign isn't on?
Um, yeah, yes, I would say that. I think it's yes, and you know, today approaching the Armory and Sixth um cross, which is an all walk, and you have to. I think people are starting to respect that, but when there's no traffic, go, and that's okay for them to go when it again it is safe to do so. But today I was approaching and it was a green light and there were people walking and I was like excited to make the green light, but and then I did do a little honk because I'm like, it's green, guys. Like that's not okay. So that is also considered jaywalking, and I think
Okay.
that's also not okay.
And does this ever, would that like a situation like today, does that ever affect your schedule or like timing, or is it usually like not a problem?
Well, let's say I was forced to stop because those kids were crossing. Of course, that would fix the schedule. Yeah, but we do have most places in our routes allow for time like that. I mean, again, especially with the Yellow Hopper, it has layovers at when we get to E14. I mean, some routes do, sometimes routes don't. But again, yeah, it's built in stuff like that, like the traffic things are built in. But when it's when there's not a protected light that it's really affected our schedules.
Okay. Honestly, that's all I had. Thank you so much.
Yes, of course, no problem.
Really appreciate
Could I,
it.
could I ask a follow-up about that? Does
Mhm.
the um, preponderance of students in the street that cause, like on Wright Street, I see this many times when I'm on the bus, does it produce stress for the operators?
Yeah, it's definitely stressful. It's just whatever happens, like we have to let it. I don't know, like we can't affect what they want to do. So, I mean, besides like maybe a little gentle honk, nothing is going to come from that. It seems it is what it is. But the whole button hooking is what we're trained to do. As far as if we're turning right, um, it means that we're protecting the people behind us. But the construction right now on Green and Right is making it very difficult for us. And again, those pedestrians using that bike lane to walk, I would consider that jaywalking right now, because that lane is specifically for bikes, not pedestrians. So that's
What is button hooking?
so a button hook is when this happens with 40-foot and 60-foot buses. You'll see us going into the bike lane and going out of it. And that is protecting our right side as well as protecting the people, like the bikers behind us, for when we turn right. And once we're clear, they can go.
Oh, thank you. Who would like to go next? And
Can I
thank you,
go
Stephanie,
back?
for your questions. Yeah, how you go ahead.
Yeah, hi Rebecca. My name is Howie, and our group got a question is which timetable, such as Google Map, daily bus, or fixed timetable on the website, is more suitable for bus users?
Mm-hmm. So it is different for iPhone and Android users, but I use an app just called Transit. It's this little blue one here with the arrow. I find this app very useful on the iPhone. But for Android users, I would suggest just mtd.web or org. Oops,
Yeah.
what's the site? Um, yeah, our system, let me make, it's mtd.org is
Okay.
the most efficient. I mean, our third party apps, like the one I said for iPhone, Transit, is just as effective, but mtd.org, and you can also trip plan there, which is, I used to use that even before I drove all the time. It's very, very useful for if you're planning ahead of time. That's the long and short of it. So if you find a third party app that you like and you think you can rely on, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes our system like just makes the buses disappear, which is very strange. But again, mtd.org, that is, I think, the cream of the crop, and that is my answer for that. I will say what my service planner told me is the real-time tracking with GTFS data, which we export to the public, which I think is what he's talking about, mtd.org. It's fantastic. It does have some caveats. The real-time data rarely matches the scheduled times due to many factors. It's important you're looking at that. Hold on, what does he say? We've noticed some internal issues when turning buses. Okay, so when buses are very behind schedule, we have a system of turn buses, which the radio operators can plug in a block, is what we call it, to the bus that will start at a point and then continue on the route to make it look like the regular route is on time. Now, when we're done with this turn, sometimes that's what would be a ghost bus. And I experienced it today because I was a show after I drove that yellow hopper today. And so I turned a red and they had me not in service from a point. And then, and so until they drop that block and the other one is continuing on route, that's, so I understand it can get confusing as far as like, but again, mtd.org is the real-time tracking, and I think it's the most reliable.
Yes, thank you so much. So you mentioned that the data on the website is the most accurate one, right?
Yes.
And I also want to know that um, we also found that the time on Google Map and Eleni Bus are different. And do you know whether their data comes from the same source, like same as the website?
Um, so that's I personally don't know where Google would get that information, versus the third party apps. Like I couldn't personally tell that's in administration somewhere that I again not too sure of, but I all I can say is yeah, I think students should be more informed that school and the what our site has built into it is just smarter and more accurate than what a the schedule that Google has, or even in the physical book. I mean, like I said, sometimes buses run late, and we're not allowed to run early, really. But the real time tracking would tell you if that's the case. And yes,
Okay, got it. Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Could I ask a follow-up or two about that? So is the information, like if you go to routes on the mtd.org website and you look at the schedule there, that's like a printed schedule similar to what would be in the printed book. That's
There,
that isn't that website schedule static and not real-time updated?
so what you're referencing, that timetable schedule, that is exactly what it is in the book, correct? But the what is the real time information is right when you type mtd.org in, there's a bar, and you can type in any stop, and actually you don't have to even type the full. What's cool is you don't have to type the full words. You can just type WR space green or HE, and it would bring up right in Healy, or AR space SI Army and Sixth. So it's it's really like a stop. And then even you can type addresses into it as well. So that's what's really cool is like it's what we use to inform the public, and I think the public needs to realize, it's at your fingertips, and it's just as quick as a third party app. So I mean, maybe I hope we would be working on our own app for that, but I don't know.
And the second thought is that one student, the one whose uncle is a bus operator, she said that um, the buses do not know if the bus operators do not know if they're on schedule, behind schedule, or ahead of schedule. Is that true?
No, of course, I mean, we have our co-pilot, which is telling us the times we're supposed to be there. And then according to that, we have a thing in the corner that says you're minus this many minutes behind schedule, or plus, or we're not supposed to be plus, but if you're plus, you're early. But yeah, no, we can tell.
And if
I
you're
as
early, are you supposed to wait at a stop until you get back
Yeah,
on?
so we have things called time points, and we're not allowed to we're technically allowed to be early, just not to any time point. So and it shouldn't be 2 minutes. That's our, like, we can't be 2 minutes ahead of schedule, basically, ever. We're not supposed to. Um and so the time points are built around, like, that's what the schedule's built around, and yeah. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry, Joe. I forgot my charger. I'm at like 10%. I'm sorry if I like dip out any at any time. I'm so bad. I should have brought my charger.
I better let other students go.
Hmm
Hi, I'm Josh.
Hi, Josh.
And our topic is about overcrowded buses. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, what time of the day do you think you have the most people on your route, and like how does this affect like onboarding, offboarding experiences for the students?
So the time of day does vary. I will say it's like it definitely comes in waves. We had just increased our service like to full service, so the buses are more frequent. So it that should be alleviating the bus overcrowding. But I understand, sometimes it's just we gotta pack in, and I try to be respectful to like scooch back and be friendly, but again, like the times are really when the students are going to class, which can be at any point of the day. um I'd say late morning and midday afternoon is are those times. And our ridership is actually higher than it was pre-pandemic. So we're still working to get everything up to speed, and so that I mean and the yeah, I mean I think the students need to realize that when there is too full looking of a bus, like either remember next time to catch even earlier one, or make sure or you can just catch the next one, which is pretty shortly behind. So I think our frequency levels are helping that issue right now, but we're planning to monitor and adapt service accordingly in the next couple of years, because we know the students are expanding and loving the school as it is. So
Do you feel like onboarding and offboarding when there's like high in demand causes you to have delays in the transportation times, or is it just not significant enough?
that's a good point. I like to yell out sometimes, like, be respectful of the people getting off the bus, and actually, like, what would make things faster sometimes if the bus is just like full is people that aren't getting off just get off to let people off, and then you could just hop back on. I know that's I understand that being nerve-wracking, but the bus driver is not going to go anywhere until doors are clear. So I think being being more aware and respectful when you're on the bus, as well as getting on. I hate to see students trying to like crash into each other. I think it does the whole like it hesitancy makes things slower for us sometimes. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
I just have a follow-up question. So, is there any way for bus operators to signal that there's an overcrowded bus?
um, yeah, I mean, sometimes we're just like, like, we feel bad to leave people behind. And it usually, if there is like, I don't, I usually just go like this, that, which means there should be another bus coming your way. Very like, and we have not only the like I tried to explain turn buses earlier, we also do a thing called backups, which actually are forwards. So if we have a backup system, it means that there's a bus that was sent your way just so that the regular scheduled bus won't be as overcrowded, or won't be like it, so that everyone can get a ride. So yeah, that's the signaling is tough. I mean, apparently we're not supposed to signal anytime, any case. I mean, we all still do them.
Yeah, that's so cool. So then during like the winter time when most students are on the buses and overcrowding happens the most, or like with bad weather, are the forwards or backward system backup system more often used?
Yeah, I've technically only this is going to be my third winter officially. So I'm not too privy on exactly what happens in winter, but as far as on campus, because I think I remember on doing like more community routes in the winter time, but I think yes. I mean, as long as we have the provided resources as far as who's on the clock and who should be scheduled to be a show, and the radio operators are aware of this, and in really bad weather cases, I think yes, we will have as much backup as we possibly can.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Uh, can you elaborate more on like the overcrowding and like what you think the causes are and its effect?
Yeah, let's see. It says here my service planner wrote U of I has reported record enrollment, which I'm sure you all are aware of. It's like the biggest freshman year class since 2017. And then I said previously the ridership is higher than pre-pandemic. It's just a moving target we're continuing to chase. We plan to monitor and adapt the service accordingly, and we just continue to face the challenges that come along with that. I think I personally see more people using other means of, like, the scooters and the bikes, but again, in wintertime that's not going to be the case. Like, can't ride those scooters all fast and when it's icy or snowy out. So it's I think the frequency again is going to help that. And as far as overcrowding, I think um, utilizing the space in the bus, because the bus is pretty spacious. I mean, not when there's 100 kids on it, I know, but I think again, the efficiency, I think the understanding of the people that are waiting to get on, you have to be patient as you can be for everyone to exit and then come on, will help that in general. I think needs to be more widely understood that it's less overcrowded if people are getting off. As soon as people get off, it's less, but the people coming on make it crowded again. But I think we can all get to our destinations in a safe and, like, I know it maybe feels squeezed, but once you get there, you're free.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Hi, I'm Chloe.
Hi, Chloe.
My project is on the bike lanes not being wide enough and how it affects everyone. So I was just wondering your experiences while driving around bikers or scooters and how do they make you feel?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a really great question. I just today, I mean, there were two bikers in us beside each other in the bike lane, and we are trained to give bikers at least 3 feet on on the left side of them. And so for me, I take that pretty seriously, as well as when they're in front of me. I don't like to. I mean, we're allowed to pass bikers like on White Street, for instance, where they can have the whole lane. So yeah, it's not ideal, especially when cars and trucks are parked in the bike lane, and then like the bikers and scooters have to go around that as well. And so yeah, I think it's it's a dangerous business, and as long as they're aware that they're in the flow of traffic, and obviously we're giving them enough space, it's then about how they treat, you know it, they can't be too risky, and we have to be aware when they want to be risky. So it's all about awareness in that way. Skateboarders especially too. I mean, they're zooming everywhere with their electric boards, and it's really cool. But I love to see them wearing helmets. That's for sure. I mean, the ones wearing helmets, I feel like they're more allowed to take the risks as far as, but we all need to just continue to work together and be aware of the spaces that we're in. And again, today, in that instance where I saw these bikers, and when the light turned green, and there was no one in the oncoming turn lane, so I just went in it. I mean, lines are just there for guiding, and if I'm gonna put someone feel safe by getting in the lane I'm not supposed to be in, I'll do it. So I think,
Yeah, so thank you so much. So it's more like you feel bad from, and you just want to make sure everyone is aware so that there is no problems.
Correct. I think awareness is the key, and for on all sides. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. It's getting dark.
Looks like we made it through all of the questions without you crashing. So
Oh, good.
very
That's
good.
great. Yeah, 10% over here.
All right, good. Well, thank you very much, Rebecca, for your helpful information. If we wanted to follow up with the service planner, would they be willing to field an email or something like that?
Yeah, no, I'll ask him. Like, I'll send you all the writing that he sent me in an email, so you can you can forward those words.
Mhm.
Not just my rambling. He wrote the good points as on all the points that you sent over to me with the research, and so I'll send that over to you so you can pass that on, and then I'll see what he says about further contacts.
Yeah, if he's willing, as the
Mhm.
students move towards the completion of their assessment, they may have another question or something like that.
Yeah, of course.
And like maybe he would know something about the real-time data API and
Yeah,
how other apps are using it and so forth. Okay, all right,
very
good.
true.
Very good. Thank you, Rebecca. And students,
Yeah.
thank you for attending this.
Thanks, guys. Great to talk
Thank
to
you so
you.
much.
Thank you so
I'll
much.
see you on the bus.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye. Have a great night. Bye, Joe.
Bye, Rebecca. I'll
Take
see
it
you
easy.
tomorrow. This is really great. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. See you tomorrow.
All right, bye.
My